Hi everybody, welcome to Shell Lectures. So today we will be dealing with NCERT Class 12 Biology, Chapter 1 Reproduction in Organisms, Part 2. So the topic here is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. So the topic itself says it's something which is related to fusion of male and female gametes. Male gamete plus female gamete. When they both fuse together, they will be giving out a zygote. Okay, and then it forms embryo. So this is the complete process of sexual reproduction. Okay, so as there are two gametes involved here, so there will be much variation in the zygote and it will be not identical to the parent. It will be not identical to the parent, there will be much variation in the zygote. Okay, so this is all about that. Fusion of male and female gametes to produce zygote is known as sexual reproduction, and here two parents are involved, and it's not very necessary that these two gametes should always be produced from only one parent. Sorry, one organism. It can also be produced from two organisms. It's not necessary that it should always be produced by two different bodies. It can also be produced by the same one body. Okay, so that is what is the speciality with this thing. Now, so as we are dealing with sexual reproduction, it's necessary to go with another topic, which is the three phases of life. Okay, the three phases of life. What are the three biological phases of life? The first thing is juvenile phase. And then reproductive phase. And then senescent phase. Okay, so juvenile, reproductive, senescent. So juvenile phase is nothing but the stage of maturity or growth that an organism must attain before it can reproduce sexually. Okay, so prior to sexual reproduction, an organism must attain a certain growth or maturity, and that phase is known as juvenile phase, and it's also known as vegetative phase in plants. And it's also known as vegetative phase in plants. Now, this is all about the juvenile phase, and it's variable in a lot of species. Okay, you can distinguish that this as this, so it is variable in a lot of species. Then we come to reproductive phase. The word itself says reproductive phase, so that is the phase where reproduction occurs. So when we talk about all of these three phases, we have to know about three things. They are perennial plants, biennial plants, and annual plants. So annual plants, the word itself says it will be there for only one season, and after that season it will perish or it will go for death. And then biennial, it will complete its life cycle through 2 years. Okay, it will take its life cycle for 2 years, and then perennial, it will be year after year, it will be just giving an yield. Okay, so among these three, perennial does not show distinct difference between these three phases. You can't distinguish that this phase has been completed in perennial plants and this. You can't do that because in perennial plants it's not very well distinguished or very well seen. Whereas in other two types, these three phases can very well be distinctly seen. Okay, then how can you find that the juvenile phase is over and then it has gone to the reproductive phase? How do we find that? So the thing which is the thing which we can use to find that the juvenile phase is about to over and the reproductive phase has started is the process of flowering. when a plant flowers, it itself means that the juvenile phase has come to an end and the reproductive phase has started. Okay, so that's how we can predict that the juvenile phase has come to an end. So reproductive phase, it's when all the reproductive processes occur, and in plants we have to know about certain unusual flowering here. Unusual flowering, two examples have been given, two distinct examples have been given for unusual flowering. There is, one is bamboo and the other is Strobilanthes kundiana. So this is Neelakunji. Okay, so bamboo and Strobilanthes kundiana. So bamboo, what is special with bamboo? It flowers only one time in its life. Okay, it flowers only one time in its life, and its lifetime is about 50 to 100 years. So at the end of the reproductive phase, it will be flowering and it will produce a lot of fruits, and then it will die. Okay, so that's a speciality with bamboo. It produces only one flower during its entire lifetime. What about Strobilanthes kundiana, Neelakunji flower, which is mainly found in the hills of southern states. So the thing with this is that it flowers only once in 12 years. Okay, it flowers only once in 12 years. So it is found as a beautiful, it covers the hills as a blue color film on all these, whenever these flowers bloom. And this recently happened in 2008. Okay, when all the hilly areas of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala were covered with bluish flowers of Strobilanthes kundiana. So this is what is the, these are the two examples for unusual flowering which we must know. Now, what about animals? Is there any speciality about animals? I am talking about reproductive phase now. We are still in the reproductive phase. Okay, so reproductive phase we were talking about, and then we have known about trees, that is the two unusual flowering examples. And then what about animals? So animals, the female mammals especially, the female mammals have cyclical changes which occur in their body, which regulate their reproductive behavior. Okay, so the way that the reproductive hormones are secreted and the way that the reproductive behavior are emerging in our body, everything is controlled by two cyclical changes which occur in their body. Okay, two cyclical changes. It's been divided because in primates, that is, in primates one cycle takes place, and in non-primates another cycle takes place. In primates, menstrual cycle takes place, and in non-primates estrous cycle takes place. Okay, so menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. So this is one kind of these are the two kinds of the cycles which occur in a female mammal for the production of reproductive hormones and for the emergence of reproductive behavior. And there are also another two divisions for female mammals: seasonal breeders and continuous breeders. Seasonal breeders and continuous breeders. Seasonal breeders are those organisms which breed only for a particular season. Out of that season, the cycle does not take place in their body. Okay, mostly the organisms which undergo estrous cycle are seasonal breeders. That is, they breed only for a particular season. They will be waiting for that season. For example, mangoes come only during this season. Apples come only during this season. Similarly, the seasonal breeders breed, or their reproductive hormones and the reproductive behavior is active only for a particular period of time. Whereas continuous breeders, it's throughout. Okay, the reproductive behavior is active throughout their reproductive phase. Okay, so this is what is known as the difference between the seasonal breeders and continuous breeders. Now that the reproductive phase is over, we have to know about the next phase, that is senescent phase. Senescent phase is nothing but the phase which is just prior to death. Okay, so we can say that it's the last phase of life. So senescent phase, actually what happens in senescent phase, the metabolism gets lowered, the rate of metabolism gets lowered, and the organism is just going to die. Okay, it's just nearing death. That is the meaning of senescent phase. So the three kinds of phases are juvenile, reproductive and senescent phases. So juvenile phase is just the pre-reproductive, that is the stage of maturity or growth that an organism must attain before it can reproduce sexually. Then reproductive phase is just the complete reproductive processes which we have talked about. And then the next thing is the senescent phase, and that phase is nothing but the phase which nears death. Okay. Okay, now we must know the events of sexual reproduction. What are the events which occur? Already I told you that the male and female gametes will be fusing together, they will be forming the zygote, and then the embryo will be formed, and the formation of embryo is known by a process known as embryogenesis. Embryogenesis. So all the events which takes place in sexual reproduction can be grouped into three, that can be just jotted down into three topics, that is pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. So pre-fertilization, that is nothing but the phase which is before fertilization, that is the things which are necessary for fertilization occur during this phase. So the things which are taking place here are, so for fertilization we know that gametes are required. So here gametogenesis occurs, that is the formation of gametes. In pre-fertilization gametogenesis occurs and the gamete transfer takes place. So gametogenesis occurs and gamete transfer takes place in pre-fertilization. So gametogenesis, that is nothing but the formation of gametes. Gametogenesis is nothing but formation of gametes. So here we have to know some terms like homogametes, heterogametes, monoecious, dioecious, hermaphrodites, monoecious is also known as this is unisexual and this is bisexual, so known as heterothallic. Okay, so homogametes, heterogametes, monoecious, dioecious, hermaphrodites. What do these terms mean? Homogametes, similar gametes. Okay, so the word homo says similar. So similar gametes, that is you can't even find a difference between the male and the female gametes. They both will look entirely similar. So that is what is known as homogametes, and the example is algae. Some species of algae show homogametes. And heterogametes, that is both the gametes can easily be distinguished, that this is the male gamete and this is the female gamete. And this occurs in humans and a lot of other mammals also. So here the male gamete is known as sperm or anthrozoid. Anthrozoid, and the female gamete is known as ovum or egg. And then what is monoecious? Monoecious is nothing but if you take a plant, okay, these two terms are exclusively meant for plants. These two terms are exclusively meant for plants. So monoecious is nothing but if you are taking a plant species, okay, if that plant species bears male flowers on a separate plant and female flowers on a separate plant, it's known as monoecious. Okay, it's bisexual, that is two sex, opposite, the two male and female gametes are in two different plants, okay, heterozylic. Or if it's dioecious, the male and the female flowers will be born on the same plant. Okay, so because the male and female gametes are produced on the same plant. So such kind of a thing is known as dioecious, unisexual, homothallic. And hermaphrodite is nothing but the organisms which produce both male and female gametes, and then the examples for this are earthworm and leech. So these are the two famous examples for hermaphrodite. Okay. So now we have to know about the gamete formation. In gamete formation, how does the cell division occur? Cell division occur, okay. So gametes are always haploid. We must know that gametes are always haploid. That is, they contain only n number of chromosomes. So they are always haploid, though the organisms from which they are formed may be diploid or haploid. Okay, so though the organisms or structures which produce gametes may be diploid or haploid, the gametes are always haploid. So how does this transition takes place? That is, it is itself haploid. How does it produce haploid gamete? Here comes the process mitosis. So the haploid structures produce gametes by means of mitosis. But here in diploid organisms there is a special kind of cells known as myocytes. Myocytes. Okay, so they are gamete producing cells. So they are 2n diploid. Okay, so they will be 2n, and then by meiosis the gametes will be produced. So they become n. Okay, so this is how the gametes are always haploid, and they are, even though the organisms or structures from which they are produced are haploid or diploid. Okay, so you have been given with a lot of values in a table stating the chromosome number in myocytes and chromosome number in gametes in your book that you have to go through. Okay. Okay, only one thing I forgot. That is, we learned about dioecious. What is dioecious? That is unisexual. Am I right? That is both the male and dioecious is bisexual. This is monoecious, which I am talking about, is monoecious. So monoecious is nothing but it's unisexual. So it will be having only one, either male or female. Am I right? It will be having only one, either male or female. So if it's monoecious, then if it bears only male flowers, it is known as staminate. A staminate flower. And if it has only female flowers, it's known as pistillate flowers. It's known as pistillate. So staminate and pistillate are two other words which we missed. Okay, so that's all for today. In the next video, I will be posting the reproduction in organisms lesson 1 NCERT class 12 biology part 3. Stay tuned to all of my videos. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so far. Like and share this video to all your friends and whomever you know. Thank you.